sure that's on. Good morning, everybody. It is the 23rd of October. My name is Kyle, and I'm going to be running through the latest AI news and updates of the day. So yesterday, we had the big launch of ChatGPT Atlas, the browser. The response has been muted, let's put it that way. Most of it I've seen has been on X and on Reddit, and people are not particularly impressed. I think that is fair to say. And then outside of the kind of more early adopting spaces, I'm not seeing anybody using it at all. So the people who are kind of on the edge of this kind of stuff, who actually like to use all the new tools, they're not particularly impressed, and the rest of the world, I don't think know or care about this. I played around with Atlas yesterday. I will not be switching over from Chrome to Atlas, mainly because of the friction involved. Moving over to a new browser is a big deal. And the main thing here, this is very parochial, but I think important, is that I don't want to import all of my details into Atlas. That is specifically my passwords, because I don't want to bring all my passwords over from Password Manager in Chrome into Atlas, because I do not yet know how safe Atlas is going to be. In fact, I'm going to talk about it in a moment. Pliny the Liberator has already jailbroken Atlas within about a day, and he worked out a prompt injection. Basically, I do not trust Atlas to be secure enough to give my passwords yet. I want to see it operating for 6 months, a year, safely, securely, without any password leaks, without any prompt injection, without the agent running off and using my credit cards before I make the leap. Because of that, because I don't want to bring my passwords over to it, it makes using Atlas a giant pain in the ass. I don't know if you've ever done this recently, or maybe you did it yesterday, but when you move over to a new browser and it doesn't have your passwords, it doesn't have your information, it's really annoying, because you go onto various different websites and then suddenly you have to go and find a password, copy it over, etc. It's a complete and utter nightmare. So having everything in Chrome, having everything secure, or to the best of our knowledge secure, makes using the internet a lot easier. So I think ChatGPT or OpenAI have a lot of friction that they'll need to overcome to get people onto a new browser. There's a reason why Chrome is, let me check the market share. The market share of Chrome is about 70%, I think. 68.6%. So the majority of the world uses Chrome. And pulling people away from that is going to be really, really tricky. I'm going to look at a TechCrunch article, which is a bit more positive, saying that OpenAI's Atlas is more about ChatGPT than the web. Fair. So OpenAI unveiled its browser, ChatGPT Atlas, during a live stream on Tuesday. There are other AI browsers like Deer, Neon, Comet by Perplexity, and General Catalyst's back Strawberry, which is a brand new one which launched last week. I feel for them. They're a Swedish-based startup, a very small team. They released their new browser last week, and then OpenAI was like, hey, we've got one too. So I feel for Strawberry. Strawberry is very good though, from what I've tested. So do try it out. OpenAI's launch is notable because of the sheer scale of reaching potentially 800 million of its weekly ChatGPT users. I don't agree with that. This is a very different use. This is not like ChatGPT on our telephone. This is not available on phones. In fact, it's only available on Mac OS X for now, not even Windows. And you have to have Mac Silicon, so you need one of the newer Macs as well. So right now, this is very limited. And again, pulling people away from a browser that they've been using for decades, that has all of their information, all of their passwords, onto a new browser, is a very high friction task, getting people to change that behavior. I am somebody who tries out lots of new tools, and I play around with lots of things, and I'm not going to move. So think about the normal person in the street who has been using Chrome for years, who don't even think about their browser or don't care about it. Pulling away a significant chunk of that 800 million is going to be tricky, really tricky. So while Atlas is currently available only on the Mac, the company is already working on bringing it to Windows, iOS and Android. Fine. I'm surprised they didn't do this faster, because it's Chromium based. So the new Atlas browser is based on Chrome. It's the Chromium framework technically, which is also what Deer and Comet and probably Strawberry, I'm not sure, are all based on as well. They all use this kind of open source Chromium framework, which is the basis of Google's browser as well. That's why they all feel the same. OpenAI has also made the browser available to all users instead of opting for an invite system like its rivals. I wonder if they know, if they thought it's because this is not going to be a particularly big deal. So that sounds a bit mean, but with things like Sora, they had to roll it out slowly. With this, I think they want to make as large a splash as possible, but this is a lot less exciting than something like Sora 2. The core proposition of the browser is for you to think of ChatGPT as the first interaction surface for search and answers instead of Google, which is true. When you enter anything into the URL bar, the address bar at the top, it triggers a ChatGPT search, sorry, a ChatGPT query, not a search. So it's moving us from the paradigm of search for accessing the information of the world to generating using a query. There is a search button as well, but what it does, which is extremely cheeky, is it just pulls the top results from Google and shows them to you inside of Atlas. And it has a little button which is like, hey, do you want to see these on Google? Obviously, I don't know why you'd click that, because you can already see them in Atlas. So I think Google is going to be very upset about that, because what they're doing is they're using Google's indexed results that Google has spent all this time and all this money and all these years of history indexing the internet. They're using that, but just plonking it straight into the Atlas browser. If they then also run ads, which I think they will, ChatGPT or OpenAI ads on top of those results, then they're using all of Google's labor, but potentially driving revenue. That feels like a lawsuit in the making. All the AI browsers share a similar idea about search and Q&A. Instead of performing a search query, you would type something in your address bar to get answers from an AI chatbot. Yep, fine. So I think we are shifting from search to generative AI, to querying. I think this is how we are going to access information. The browser is kind of a weird stopgap. So it's almost like skeuomorphism. We're using a technology that we are used to, and using an analog version of it, which is using generative AI instead of search. So it's a way to kind of transition people into whatever's coming next. To me, it feels a bit clunky, honestly, but I'd love to hear what other people think about Atlas. If you have any good stories, if you found it useful. I don't think it's going to be the hit they're expecting. I also think that all of these browsers, Perplexity's Comet, Deer, which is now owned by Atlassian, Atlas from ChatGPT, I think all of these are kind of irrelevant as soon as Google add Gemini directly into Chrome. So if they just make Chrome AI enabled, Google already has 70% of the market share. You add Gemini as a sidebar, which is all that the other AI browsers have done, and that's the ball game. You win because you have the market penetration already. You add Gemini in, and everything else ceases to be of any importance, because now the biggest AI browser in the world is obviously going to be Chrome. So I'm sure they're looking at doing that, and it won't be that difficult. You just copy Perplexity, you copy Atlas, you add a sidebar, and you give it Gemini. That's all they need to do, and all of these browsers become basically irrelevant. Anyway, tell me what you're thinking of Atlas. I played around. I'm not particularly impressed, but maybe you have different thoughts. I'm going to hop over to some questions, and then I'm going to look at vibe coding Linktree, because Linktree have just put their prices up by a lot, an awful lot. Okay, so do we want to cover the jailbreak? No, I think that's evolving too quickly. So Pliny the Liberator jailbroke ChatGPT immediately. No, we'll have a look at it. So Pliny the Liberator is kind of the most famous jailbreaker of AIs out there. You can find all of his work on his GitHub. I say he, we do not know. We do not know his gender. He or she or they appeared in the Time Most Influential AI People as well, which was hilarious. I think Pliny found it as funny as we all did. But Pliny the Liberator, within about a day, opened up the Atlas browser. So I'm going to read out their post. So OpenAI pwned. Atlas browser liberated. Wow, there's a new AI browser on the block. Have some hefty guardrails in play, but the browser surface area is vast. So basically there are guardrails, but there's so much to play around with within the tool that they were able to find a way in. First, I started with a good old LSD jailbreak, which was cool to see that the GPT-5 prompt still works in the browser setup with the new system prompts. Reference in search and video are fun enhancement for higher quality jailbreak outputs. Some cool YouTube videos out there about drug making, for example. One of the big tests is to see whether an AI will tell him how to make LSD, methamphetamine, etc. But honestly, that isn't anything new or different from regular ChatGPT capabilities. What is hot off the press, and this is the worrying thing if you're using Atlas, and IMO a very real security risk to be aware of in AI browsers and the internet in general, is this humble yet mighty vulnerability, clipboard injection. So this is not just Atlas. This is all of the AI browsers out there, and in fact Brave, the Brave browser, have put out a report about this morning about these vulnerabilities. So what you do is you add a hidden copy to clipboard feature to any clickable button on the web. It took me just a few minutes to update one of my personal websites such that all the buttons were geared for injecting the user's clipboard with a malicious phishing link. So you set up a website and you make an invisible copy to clipboard. It could be on a button click, for example, and as soon as they click on that button to move to the next page or to do some kind of action, it also copies information into their clipboard. If your browser agent is navigating a website and clicks a button like that without your knowledge, and you open a new tab later and hit paste without knowing what's in your clipboard, pwned. So the agent, which you can set off to browse the internet for you, it will go around and it will be clicking on buttons, because that's what it does, very slowly, mind you. It'll be clicking on buttons, and if one of those buttons has a hidden copy text in it, you'll be able to insert a malicious link into that button, which means that malicious link is now sitting waiting in the paste. I'm not going to read that because that's full of swearing, but this works so well because agent is normally aware of all text and code being passed to and from the users and has clearly been trained to recognize prompt injections. But since the copy clipboard button logic is hidden in JavaScript in the back end of the site, the agent has zero awareness of the text content being injected into the user's clipboard. This has broad implications for anyone in the habit of copy pasting, including coding, data entry, banking, trading, etc. Banking and trading, so that's a big one. Imagine going about your browsing business and simply hitting Control-V on the address bar, and next thing you don't know, it takes you to a spoof phishing website that tells you your OpenAI or Gmail or PayPal session has expired and you need to re-log in. Very smart. If you're not careful, the attackers now have all of your login info, including any multi-factor authentication codes. GG. So it took them about a day to work this out, and this is why we do need to be careful when adopting new technologies that have agentic systems in them, because agent systems can do a lot. They can go off and do look around the internet. I saw somebody who was purchasing beach items. He told it, I'm going to the beach, buy me the essentials for the beach, and it went off to I've forgotten what it's called, Thrivecart, and it purchased suntan lotion, bucket and spade, etc. So you can set up your agent to go and purchase for you. You can make it buy plane tickets, etc. When you are doing stuff like this, this raises the risk of these kind of attacks. So for Pliny to find one within a day should be a cautionary tale. So again, I'm not anti-technology, but this is very much a wait and see situation. Okay, I'm going to hop over to something I thought was interesting, and then we're going to do a little exercise. It'd be better if you're on YouTube, by the way, because you'll be able to see the code. So this is from marketingmax.com. It's his Twitter account. So he's been sent an email. I haven't checked, but I'm sure I have it too. Linktree, which you probably know, is a what do you call it? Linktree is like it's literally a page that has links on it, but it's nicely formatted and you can add it onto your social media, and it's a way to share all of your links. So I'm sure a lot of you know what Linktree is. You probably already use it. So Linktree, they've sent one of these emails, which is, hey, we're raising the price, but it's good for you. Don't worry, you'll love this. So at Linktree, we've built powerful features that help creators and businesses achieve remarkable results. Cool. In order to support continued efforts to innovate and expand these capabilities, your plan price will update from $9 a month to $15 a month starting November, so 1 month from now. This investment to make sure we can keep delivering cutting-edge tools that help you stay ahead. So they've raised it by 60% in 1 month, which is a hell of an increase. If you are using Linktree, go and check how much you're going to be paying, because they are about to raise it by 60%, which is a big jump. Now, Linktree is a pretty basic piece of software. It allows you to add links. I'll show you what mine looks like at the back end. It allows you to add links and to toggle them on and off, to delete them. It kind of looks nice. I mean, it looks clean, it looks fine, but it's a very basic piece of software. So for them to be charging $15 a month for it is, I mean, it's a bit of a piss take. So as Marketing Max has said, he's swearing, a faffing 60% price increase for something I can vibe code in 10 minutes. And then lots of people in the comments saying, yeah, this is nonsense, they're going to lose a lot of customers. So what I've done is I've actually copied, I've taken screenshots of the back-end admin of Linktree, and I've taken screenshots of what my public page looks like, and I've gone over to Claude Code and given it those screenshots and said, hey, I want to make this, let's make this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, while I'm doing the rest of the news, I'm going to allow Claude Code to replicate it. So I've actually said, quite directly, I said, I want to build a Linktree clone on my site, a self-hosted Linktree. I've provided the admin interface, the image, and an example of the public facing page, again another image, and then told it where it is. Can you add this to my admin page, basically? So I'm going to replicate Linktree using Claude Code while we do the rest of the news. It probably won't be perfect, but I'm sure we'll be able to get somewhere. So before I start building the Linktree clone, let me ask, should I explore your current admin interface first? Yes, please. Integration approach. Do you want this as a new item in your existing admin sidebar or a separate standalone admin section? So new item in admin. Just checking the rest of the questions, and I'm going to set it off. So it's looked at the images and it has worked out the basic structure. So a left sidebar navigation with link, shop, design, etc. Profile section with avatar, name, tagline, add button to create new links. List of link cards showing title and URL, analytics, toggle switch to enable disabled, blah, blah, blah. It's got all of that just from a screenshot that I've given it. So I'm actually going to say, don't worry about the shop. What are the other ones? We've got shop, earn, blah, 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 social planner. I don't need any of that. I just need a page that has links on it. So about the shop, social planner, Instagram, DM. I don't care about any of this. I just want the basic core functionality of adding links, tracking clicks, being able to hide slash show, plus what else do we want Linktree to do? Needs to look nice. Delete, schedule, do we need that? We don't really need that. No, we're just going to keep it basic. Delete slash archive links, and then a nice looking public page matching my site design. Cool, that's it. So I'm just going to leave Claude Code off in the background doing that. This is Claude Code Web, which came out at the beginning of this week. Yes, at the beginning of this week, which allows you to access Claude Code but via a web interface. This is great for my lives and when I'm doing stuff on screen, because this is a lot more visual than what we'd normally see. And the command line interface looks terrifying. You can take things over to command line interface, but as you can see, if you're on YouTube at least, it is just going through everything, it's reading, it's working things out, and then it's just going to work for the next 10-15 minutes on this task while I do the rest of the live. So we will check back on that and have a look at it later. I'll also add a link to my new Linktree page below this video. I mean, any video from now on where I reference my links, I'll be pointing to this page because I'm going to cancel my Linktree. You can actually do this with a lot of software. So, for example, what was it? Typeform. How much did Typeform the pricing? The pricing of Typeform is £40 a month. £40 a month. Oh, that's on the yearly. Okay, sorry, £50 a month for forms. Like, again, this is something that you can just create yourself. Is it going to have every single feature? No, not necessarily, nor do you need every single feature. If you just want to make a platform which sits on your website, is branded with your brand, and is a form software, and it doesn't have limits on how many responses, etc., etc., you can make that yourself nowadays very, very easily. 50 quid a month. Good God. The one that always gets me is DocuSign. Because DocuSign, how much is pricing? Which is basically, wow, the fact that everybody's buying adverts against their pricing. I just put in DocuSign pricing in Google, and all of the adverts are counter pricing. So, DocuSign £20 a month. Oh no, sorry, £34 a month, or 50. But that only allows you to send 10 a month. So £3.40 per. Anyway, a lot of money. What always cracks me up about DocuSign is their employee count. I think it's 7,000. Yeah, it's got 7,000 people working at DocuSign. Again, this is a document signing startup. Like, you don't need 7,000 people. I'm sure most of them are in sales, honestly. But we can now replicate these tools ourselves, and I highly recommend you do. Cool. Right, so I'm going to hop over to some questions and then look at some more news. Oh, Anne Murphy says, making mining Gamma now. Yes, Gamma added this, didn't they? So Gamma, you might know of. Gamma they started as mainly for presentation, so it's like a PowerPoint replacement using artificial intelligence. We explain these are the slides I want in my presentation. The main thing about Gamma, which is really impressive, which other people have not managed, is Gamma have a really good taste level. So a lot of AI tools that you use look trash. A lot of AI kind of design is not very good at all. Gamma, I think, have actually spent time and money making sure the design is good, and they have a team of designers who have a good eye. So the stuff you create with Gamma is like, okay, this looks good. It doesn't look like AI slop. But they pushed out the boat, didn't they? So they did presentations. They started there. Now they do websites, they do social media, they do documents. And it sounds like Anne Murphy is saying they have some kind of way to build like a link tree replacement. Makes a lot of sense. How much is Gamma now? Gamma's great. I'm not sponsored by Gamma. Okay, so Gamma's Pro is 15 quid a month, or 20 a month. See, that's by itself, that's less than like a DocuSign or a Typeform, but it does so much more. So it kind of gives you an idea that these older companies, these legacy companies, are getting greedy. The fact that Typeform are charging 40-50 quid for forms is greedy, and Linktree are going the same way. I think they're probably looking at all the AI stuff coming out now and being like, oh God, our time is up, we're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble, because it allows a huge amount of competition to enter the market, and it also allows people to vibe code their own solutions for their businesses as well. So they're going to have a problem from oversupply, because there's going to be new entrants who are able to replicate their functionality in a day and then sell it to other people, and then a decrease in demand, because at the same time some people, the DIYers, will realize, oh, I can just do this myself. Why am I paying you 50 quid a month? Why am I paying you $100 a month? I can just do this. So I think a lot of the legacy companies are probably panicking, with good reason, because their tools are not as valuable as what they're charging for it. So it sounds like, Anne, you're already moving away from Linktree. Fair. We live in Gamma. It's so easy and aesthetic. Yes, that's 100% it. It is so nice. They have elements that in combination look like Linktree but better. Okay, makes a lot of sense. And I guess if you know that you want to build a page like a Linktree page, you give those instructions to Gamma. So if you're building a website, you say, hey, and I also want to have like a social link page like a Linktree, and you can just explain what Linktree looks like. You can give it screenshots and it'll be able to duplicate that much faster. Okay, I want to hop over to something from Google. I'm trying to talk about Google because Google are putting out so much good stuff, but they don't get much recognition because everyone's talking about ChatGPT, they're talking about Grok, Anthropic. Google are just putting out work, like a huge amount of stuff. But every time they do, people are like, oh, it's cool. Yeah, cool. Except for Nano Banana. Nano Banana was about a month ago. That was a big moment for them because people suddenly realized that, oh, Google does AI. That's cool. And Google Gemini became the #1 app store download for about a week or so. So for them, that was suddenly a big moment, but they are shipping constantly. I talked the other day about their AI Studio. Check this out. So AI Studio has something called build mode now, which is free to use and is basically Lovable or Bolt. So it's a vibe coding tool that allows you to build very basic pieces of software very, very quickly inside of AI Studio. It is free to use, and then if you want to scale up, then you use their API and you pay for their API, but that's pretty cheap. Gemini is cheap. But this is a piece of software that went totally under the radar because it released the same day as ChatGPT Atlas. So I feel really sorry for them. But go and check out Google AI Studio. The thing I wanted to flag up today, though, is skills.google, which is also new and nobody's heard of it because Google don't tell us about these things. So Google Skills is a really beautiful, lovely looking education platform about artificial intelligence. So it's skills.google, and it has a catalog of courses. You can kind of talk to it at the top and tell it what you want to learn. It has different tracks and different pathways. So depending on what you want to focus on. So AI, machine learning, data, dev tools, infrastructure, productivity. So it's a bit more technical, I would say. But in the catalog, they do have some basics. Where are they? Introductory. Let's have a look. It's not loading very fast, Google. This could be... Oh no, there we go. Okay, I think you're going to have to look through yourself because for their basic level, they have a similar problem to me. I've got a new course catalog and I have too much in it, so it's really hard to work out how to get people onto the right track. So for their beginner level, they have derive insights from BigQuery data, Big Lake Quick Start, that's a machine learning thing, a tour of Google Cloud sustainability, migrate MySQL database to Cloud SQL using database migration. Okay, these are not beginners, Google, so you need to have a look at this. But overall, there are thousands of courses on here, and they are all free unless you want to get certification, and then I think there's going to be a cost. So definitely have a look at this. It is skills.google.com. I might talk to their team about their... Is it labs? Yeah, it's labs. I'll talk to their team and give some feedback on trying to find stuff because it is hard. And what we need with artificial intelligence is not more information. We need a guided pathway to help us, especially people who are starting out, go in the right direction. So if you come onto a website, it's like, here's 1,000 courses. That's a bit overwhelming, unfortunately. But do go and check it out, and send them feedback as well, because they're always looking for feedback about how they can do better. Google Labs is amazing. Yes, it is. I'm talking with their team about Opal at the moment, and it's good fun. Although that said, the new Google AI Studio, which is not part of Labs, it's a separate division, they are cooking. So that's Logan, what's his name? Logan Kilpatrick? Yeah, Logan Kilpatrick. He's kind of the front of that. And Google AI Studio Builder is extremely good. Definitely go and check it out. They have a similar name to an awful lot of tech companies where the naming conventions are not great. Right, I'm going to hop over to few more little pieces. I'm actually going to avoid for now because it's still information still coming out, but there's a lawsuit against OpenAI from the parents of Adam Rain, who died by suicide, and the parents are saying ChatGPT was instrumental in this suicide, and they are suing OpenAI. OpenAI have just requested all documents relating to memorial services or events in the honor of the decedent, yeah, including but not limited to any videos or photographs taken or eulogies given. Lawyers from the Rain family described the requests as intentional harassment. So this is brand new news, so I'm actually not gonna cover it yet. I'll probably do it tomorrow, once the dust has settled, because I don't want to speculate, but it looks like more intimidation coming from OpenAI, and intimidating the parents of a dead 16-year-old boy is I think bad look doesn't do it justice, but I will cover it tomorrow when we have a bit more information, because it's still very speculative at the moment. Okay. Oh, I forgot that we were building something Claude, didn't we? Okay, I still have a few more steps to do, so I'm not going to do that live on stream because it's a bit boring watching me do a super base migration, etc. So I will do that off stream, and then I'll add the result below this video afterwards. It shouldn't take too long. Awesome. I'm actually going to wrap up because this news isn't particularly interesting. Yeah, I think I've covered the main things, and I will go ahead and put the finished version of our cloned link tree below the video on YouTube. So all of these videos, all of these segments can be found on YouTube generally the day after. We cut them all up, so you'll have the individual segments, and the individual segments will be time coded and a lot easier to find. Everything also goes into a newsletter which comes out every single morning. The newsletter covers what was in the live the day before, but it gives it in a text version as well as links directly to the portions of the edited videos as well, so it's a lot easier to find information there. So make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter and to YouTube. Both are free, entirely free, and I hopefully a good way to kind of stay up to date with what's going on in the world of artificial intelligence, because it is a lot every single morning. Awesome. Right, I will be back tomorrow morning. I'm sorry I've been dreadful with the timings recently. I'm building a new product which I'm launching hopefully in a week or so, and I'm working until quite late at night on it. And that's just knocking all my schedule out. It's fun work, but it's a lot of work. So I will try to be on the stream tomorrow at 10 AM, but no promises. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and the newsletter, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.